Octagon heavyweight champ with me today, Will fucking Fleury. You know the man. Will looks
Oh,
beautiful. How you doing?
good. Yeah, spending a day in Hamburg here. Going to do some podcast over here tomorrow, so getting to travel around a bit now and talk shit everywhere. It's been fun.
Well, I know you got some shit to talk because you had a
Mm,
fight recently. You lost the light heavyweight belt to Muradov, and there's some
mhm.
controversy to say the least. Unbiasedly, as a fan, journalist, whatever you want to call it, early stoppage. You can't really deny it. I know you feel that way. Fans feel that way. So a few weeks removed now. How do you feel
Yeah,
about it?
I feel like I was too much of a sportsman on the night, to be honest. Like the moment the referee stopped the fight, the first thing I said to him was like, "What the fuck are you doing, mate?" And he pinned my like. I was attached to Murdoch. I had a grip over him, a full body lock. He was not in a position to hit me. I'd gotten safe. Like I, you know, it didn't look good. He caught me a good shot. I fell. He followed up. He missed. Like, I think he landed 2 out of the 5 shots that he tried to throw. I attached to him, and he's on both of his hands now, and I've got his body weight pulled forward. And that's when the referee decides to step in. When it's like, he has a good 10 or 15 seconds of work to do now to be able to hit me again. I'm going to get up. I'm going to scramble out of this. I've dominated the fuck out of the first round. He was basically unconscious at the end of the first round. It's like, what is going through your head that you think this is a good time to stop the fight? You know, like, look, I'm not trying to say there was no danger on my behalf, like that I was, I'm losing that round probably.
Sure.
That's the way it's going to go. But it's like, we've got 3 more rounds to go, mate. And I've shown that I'm the one in charge of the fight up until I got caught in that moment. Um, I like, I tried to be very magnanimous about it. I was like, look, shit happens sometimes. The referee's trying to do his best. But ultimately, having watched it a few times, and now the fact that Muradov is trying to bitch out of the rematch, it's become incredibly frustrating. And a lot of the Czech fans were like, "Oh well, you took it so well on the night. He wants the heavyweight title now, so I'm heavyweight champ as well, obviously." And he's now like, "Well, there's no point in us fighting again unless it's that heavyweight." But it's a complicated situation. He's the interim middleweight champion, and I was like lined up to go for triple champ, right? So his whole argument is, well, now I'm in position to be triple champ. But mate, it's very different. I came in and cleared out the light heavyweight division. And then because the vacant title was there in the heavyweight division, I got the chance to move up. There was no challengers at light heavyweight. I moved up. I beat the top 3 guys in heavyweight over the last year and a half because nobody in light heavyweight would fight me. So I had like all these pussies like Alex Popik, Freddie Voskron, fucking Daniel Spoor. None of these guys would fucking sign up to the fight. Spoor signed up twice but never showed up. That's why Muradov got the fight because Spoor pulled out for the second time. I feel like I cleared out both of those divisions, and that's why I was thinking of going down to middleweight. He's the interim middleweight champ, and fair folks, the guy's a good fighter, but he's now like, well, I've come in and beat you on 12 days' notice. You owe me the chance, or you like fucking owe me the opportunity to fight for the heavyweight belt. But if I beat him at heavyweight, he's going to go down and fight for the middleweight title to unify the belt, try and get the full title, keeps my fucking light heavyweight belt, and like, you're 1-1 after you winning off a controversial stoppage, but you're the only one who's benefited from us fighting. Makes absolutely fucking no sense to me. And a lot of the Czech fans seem to have bought into this, which is pissing me off quite a lot. So to me, it's fairly obvious. Make it a fucking rematch at Octagon 100. We're the 2 highest level fighters in the organization. We're about to be pound for pound number 1 and 2. It's an obvious fucking fight to make. And only his bullshit and the way he's spun things recently, which seems to have worked in the Czech Republic, has changed that situation. I'm going to fucking contest that as hardly as possible. But I'm like, look, there could be other options on the table, like including the Murdoch fight at heavyweight, and then we'll see what like if I can get it contractually tied up that it's like I fight him at heavyweight and he has to fight me again at light heavyweight after I
Right.
beat him at heavyweight. Maybe we can explore that option. But I still think that's bullshit because I have to go 2-1 against the guy to get back to where I was, which is just fucking retarded. Like, sorry, it's just stupid. Like it makes absolutely fucking no sense. Like, um, and the guy also gave his word at the press conference. He was like, "Yeah, obviously it's a rematch fight." There's a lot to this that's really, really pissing me off, and I feel like Murdoch's a bit of a scumbag, given the way the whole thing went. And he was so like, that night there was a genuine respect between the two of us. We'd had a good fight. We're both high-level fighters. He knew he was in danger. I was like, fair play, mate. You got it done in the end. Amazing composure coming back in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you look at the press conference, I meant everything I said. I was fucking very magnanimous, congratulating the guy. And even the point of view, I was like, well, look, I got caught. That's why the referee had to stop the fight. That's true. But I think, and look, fair fucks for you, or fair fucks to you for saying it. Like, you watch that again and again, you're like, clearly there's no danger anymore. Why are you stopping
I mean, you got
the fight?
the double underhooks and the body lock.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah. So I hadn't watched it enough times when I was at the press conference, to be honest with you. Because, like, you know, the first thing I was going to say was, like, listen, I don't agree with the stoppage, but at the same time, I do think the referee is doing his best. And I didn't add in that part of, like, I really, really don't agree with this stoppage. And I never really fucking did, but it is like, I'm not, like, we've had Kareem Engizek here in Octagon acting like an absolute brat after he's lost 2 fights. It set a really bad example of what the sport should be in my eyes. And I don't want to be that type of guy. So I was like, I was kind of determined to be like, just take it well, deal with the fucking thing. You're going to get your rematch. Everyone saw what the fight it was. You know, like, I feel like he was far more out in the first round than I was in the second round. Like, he wasn't fighting back when he got hit at the end of the first round. You know, and look, part of that is like fucking fair, like, because the round was over and he took that shot and he stayed conscious. And it wasn't like, you know, the shot that I landed was actually after the bell, and I genuinely didn't hear the bell at all.
Sure.
So, like, my apologies for that. Honestly, that's a mistake. Like, I fucking didn't hear it. So, in a way, maybe that's why the referee was so early to stop it this time, because he was a little bit late stopping at that time. Possibly there's a bit of that going on. But at the same time, I feel like if you watch those 2 clips of, like, the way I fell, the way he fell, and you look at it and you're like, well, which one of those would you stop?
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, and this is the thing, man. I don't want to be the fucking guy here complaining and moaning about this. Give me my fucking rematch and I'll put it right. That's all I want. That's the opportunity. I'm like, I wouldn't be here moaning at all if it was like, yeah, cool, immediate rematch. You're going to fight at Octagon 100. We're going to blow the shit out of this. We're going to make it the biggest fight we've ever had. Right. Great. Makes a lot of fucking sense. But now it's a situation where I can't gain anything and you can't lose anything. Why the fuck would I do that? And you're going to go down to middleweight and take another like 9-10 months to come back up and defend your light heavyweight belt.
Yeah.
The one you won in extremely controversial fashion. Fuck you. Yeah, no. Makes no sense.
Before I ask you more about this mess we're in and what could it be next, I do want to ask about, and this is my last question about the last fight, I want to ask about the stoppage itself, because obviously we all see what happens, but you're in there feeling it. So, you know, I actually have a black eye right now. I've been rocked a little bit before in the gym, but never like near finished in a fight. So where were you? How rocked were you? Like physically, how were you feeling when you were on the ground?
I've actually got some really good footage of this that I'm going to put up in the next week or 2 on my Instagram. But I'm about to stand up. Like, so look, I fall, like, he catches me a good shot. You can see it. I like extend the left hand. I didn't fully extend it. He comes over the top with like a really good vertical overhand. He catches me kind of like here and it wobbles me. And like, it's kind of like you can see my legs like switch on to keep my balance. And then I kind of like wobble and go down. I track him with the legs. So like I've fallen, like he's put me on the ground, but I'm fairly obviously conscious.
You're aware.
I'm trying to create a barrier between the two of us. He like jumps past the leg, misses that shot. He then throws 3 more shots. He hits like 1 on the neck and 1 kind of like here. And then the 5th shot he kind of throws like an elbow, or like it's like a back fist where it was kind of close to the elbow when he was landing. And it kind of catches the side of my head. Then I have the body lock. And then he pulls me upright with the body lock. And the referee starts pulling us to get us apart. And I could feel like genuinely, mate, this is how like copped on I was in that moment. I was like, why? Like the first thing I felt was him pulling me apart, and Muradov's hand is here. So I know it's not Muradov's hand on me. And I'm like, no.
You knew right away.
So yeah. And it was like genuine, it was that thing. It's like, oh mate, you fucked it here. So like the first thing, and you can see this in the footage, I turned to him like, what the fuck are you doing? And like, he's pulled me apart. Muradov is pushing my head this way. So I'm looking at the ref as I'm pulled off him. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? He then pins, like, so I turned from him to stand. And the referee pins both my shoulders to the mat. Because he doesn't want me fucking standing up, because he's fully aware that like, oh shit, I probably stopped this a bit early.
Yeah.
I don't want this to look as bad as it will look if he just fucking stands up straight away. So he's pinning me for a little bit, and I'm like, mate, what are you doing? Immediately it was frustration. That was the first emotion, obviously. And then I had about 7 or 8 seconds on the ground to just go, okay. And look, he had caught me a good shot. I'm not trying to say I wasn't rocked.
Sure, sure.
I was definitely rocked. Was I out? No. Was I where I was? Yes. Genuinely, you can see it in the footage. Like, it should be fairly obvious there. Like, you know, like, I'm fucking, like, I'm trying to stop him in the moments. Like, I'm trying to move as best I can at that time. And then I attach to him. That is intelligent defense. And I'm not in a position of danger. So explain to me why that fight needs to be stopped.
You're asking the wrong guy.
Yeah. And that's kind of what pisses me off, because even like the guy, Peter Irish, I have nothing against him personally, but like he's been banned from refereeing KSW. He's a Polish referee. The biggest organization in Poland doesn't use him as a ref anymore. There's question marks over that. And then it's like, who chooses that this is the guy who's going to referee the highest level fight you've ever had?
Right.
It's bizarre to me. It doesn't make any sense. And look, Octagon have some really good referees. Gerd Richter, like Mark Goddard's over there a lot. I understand Goddard was doing UFC Serbia that day.
Right.
So I get that like he's not available. But it is like, this is a very strange decision to have made in the first place. And then this guy's played a massive role in the fight, the way it's all gone. I don't want to complain. I really don't. I hate this sort of shit.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's like, just give me the opportunity to put it right. I won't be frustrated anymore. So once I got the opportunity to put this properly right, cool. No more fucking complaining. We're done. It's all good. But until then, mate, I'm going to fucking raise questions over why it was set like this. And let's be honest, mate. I've been the Irish guy coming into a Czech promotion where they're like, fuck, he keeps winning. They signed Budai. They literally signed Budai just to fucking beat me. And look at their faces after I beat Budai. Look in the cage and go like, oh, even listen to the commentary and check. Like, when I win, it's like, wow. And they may as well be going, they may as well say like, oh, fuck. You know? And like, I'm not the guy over there. But what's mad is like, and what I'm feeling really fortunate for is I have a massive following over there. Like, as in, the fan base has really gotten behind me. And they see what I am because I'm very genuine. I fight with my fucking heart on my sleeve. And I take everybody. Right? Like, the funny thing is, if I had beaten like Carlos or if I beaten Budai this way, it would obviously be an immediate rematch. And do you think I'd be like, oh yeah, no, I'm going to fight for some fucking different title in a different division.
Oh, you're taking
or unless you want. It's just like, it's obvious. It's like I don't fucking have a choice. You know, I wouldn't even look for the option of not taking it. But like, they're never going to not let me fucking take it.
Yeah.
So if I beat Carlos like this, or if I beat Budai like this, it's like, will immediate rematch. That's the only fight at the table. Okay, cool. I'll be doing it anyway. But like, the fact that it's not the immediate rematch and it's like, oh, well, Muradov, no. Wow, look, we can't force him to do fucking anything. It's like, yeah, all right, lads, fuck you.
Well,
you know.
This is my last question really about what's next here, because clearly you won Octagon 100 in Prague, rematched it at light heavyweight. Makes sense to me. He's pushing for heavyweight. You're then convinced he's going to go back down to middleweight instead of light heavyweight. So I guess the thing is, like, you've been a champ. You've been successful at Octagon for so long. I know you're saying you're the Irishman coming in, but don't you think that should give you some pull there to kind of say what the hell's happening?
You would fucking think so, wouldn't you? Genuinely, as in like this is the thing. To everybody on the outside, it's like, well, of course you can. Of course you can do that. It's like, hey, mate, these are not the conversations I'm having.
Politics,
like,
baby.
But it's funny, like, because from a business point of view, I would understand it if it was like, well, I just don't sell over there. But actually, you listen to the crowd when I'm walking out, I got a better reception than Muradov got.
You sell, bro.
And like, yeah, I do. And like, what this thing is, like, I've proved myself. I've obviously, like, look what I did to Budai. Look what I've done to fucking Aris there recently as well. And like, there's very few guys who can consistently do that. And I've consistently done that over the last 3 years. And even in this fight, I dropped him in the first, you know, like it was fairly similar, like just the round ended. So it's like, if you give me another 5 seconds there, this was another highlight reel clip. I would have thought that this would be a no questions fucking rematch. That's why I was like at the press conference so respectful, so unanimous. And now I'm very, very frustrated with the fact that it's not. And like, I'm glad that seems obvious to you, and I'm glad you see that, because to me, it's like this is bizarre, you know, especially when you've come in and done the sort of work that I've done in the last couple of years. But unfortunately, this is the reality. And it's like, okay, cool. Let me go and fucking show you what I am again. And like, the main thing is that we get the, like, if it does end up being some bullshit where I have to defend the heavyweight belt against a guy who's never fought at heavyweight before just because he fucking wants that and he's got leverage that I somehow don't fucking have, okay, cool. But then it becomes a situation where I defend my heavyweight belt. Now he's forced to defend his light heavyweight belt.
Right.
Then, if I beat him at light heavyweight, it becomes a situation where it's like, I'm 2-1 against you, and you now think you can go down to middleweight. No, fuck you. If I've beaten you at light heavy, it's like I get the shot at middleweight next. You know, so the light heavyweight title fight becomes a thing of like, the one who wins that one now has consequences, because you've had one no consequence fight. And now, like, I'm going to come back and beat you for a second time, but it still effectively keeps you back in the same position you were before losing twice, where you're like interim middleweight champ. No, fuck you. If I beat you at light heavy, you give up your claim for the interim belt. And then I go down and take that belt off Jocko. So, like, I feel like we can make something work as long as they're not being told cowards and bitches and willing to make it work. But we'll see, because what I'm getting back from the people I'm talking to is like, oh no, sure, why would we do that? No, we can't do that. Oh no. And it's just like, okay, so it's just a situation where like, I've got shit to give you, but you don't have to give me anything. Cool. Doesn't add up for me. Doesn't add up at all. And there's I think what there is, more than like a frustration, there's like a bitterness that comes with this. And like, I like to think I'm a dangerous man at the worst of times, but if you make me a bitter fucker, you know, now I'm a scary cunt to get into a cage with. And I feel like in a weird way that's going to screw me over, because I've made it fairly obvious I'm dangerous to him as well. And that's why this rematch isn't happening in light heavyweight. He sees the danger and he's like, shit, I've just got this belt. I don't want to lose it. I don't understand why it isn't a rematch. I know I'm kind of talking myself in circles, but
Oh, you're good.
It really seems obvious that it should be.
I agree, and I think, you know, I don't want to speak for the fans, but I think when we post this, the comments will kind of agree with that too. I'm excited to see where this goes, what fights come out of this, and I'm very glad you were honest and open in this interview, Will. I appreciate it. We're at about 15 minutes. Sorry, if you have more to say, go ahead.
No, go. No, sorry.
I was gonna say we're at about 15 minutes. Do you have like 5 more minutes? I wanted to ask a
Of
different
course,
topic of
yeah,
questions.
please, yeah, go for it.
Well, and again, I'm asking this not because like I'm saying you're upset with Octagon, you're not happy here. That's not why I'm asking this at all. This is just random. It just happens to somewhat tie in. I'm curious if you can reveal. Do you know how many fights are left on your Octagon contract?
Yeah, 4 fights left on my deal.
Yeah, you got 4 fights left. That's great. The
Yeah.
reason I'm asking is every time I post Will Fleury interview coming soon, every time I post a Will Fleury highlight, anytime I really post anything about you, the casual fans are drawn in. And they always ask and always say, yo, this guy would beat the shit out of every UFC heavyweight. Yo, we got to get this guy in the UFC. Is that something you're still interested in at this stage of your career?
It was before I signed my last deal. And again, I will be like, my deal is that I have to fight 3 times this year and 3 times next year. So it will be done by the end of 27. I will be 38 years old, like 38 and a half at that stage. Mm-hmm. I feel like I don't feel like I'm aging really at all. Yeah, thank God. Now I'm like, biology only goes one way, right?
Yeah, right.
There's a reason your grandparents aren't the same as they used to be, you know? But I'm gonna I live a good lifestyle. I'm resisting to slow down as much as I can. And like, I feel like a better fighter every 6 months. You know, I feel like I'm constantly improving my skill set. And I'm just fucking curious to keep learning. I'm gonna ride this thing for as long as I can. Let's see where I am at the end of that contract. I'm very interested in all the options out there. Like, look, I see MVP and PFL have just merged.
Yep.
I've had some really good offers in, you know, and it's been like that. I think like it's great that the casual fans now like Will Fleury could knock the fuck out of people in the UFC, because look, Martin Buday went 7-1 in the UFC and he lasted like a minute and 30 seconds and he got shit knocked out of him. And like, you know, I think it's pretty obvious I could do very well there. But I now have 4 fights ahead of me, and it's on me to go back. Like, really, I'm just focused on what's right in front of me, and I want to get that belt back so fucking badly. And I think like the reason these lads who are saying like, oh, Will Fleury can knock fuck, it's like, yeah, well, like, I've got to fucking show that I have those skill sets. And like, also, I have a bit of a fucking personality, and like you're saying, oh, thanks for being so open and so honest. I always fucking am. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoyed a bit of shit talk at a press conference. I'm not going to go out and say some retarded shit just for the sake of saying it. I want to like be true to who I am, but I'm also willing to go, well, fuck you. You're a bit like, I don't see this as correct. Like, I see a lot of guys saying stuff for the sake of being controversial. I'm not going to say anything unless I have a genuine, strong feeling towards it. But like, I do sometimes feel quite strongly about shit, especially this situation. And I'm not someone who's like afraid of being not respectful. If somebody's being a prick, I'll call them out on it. Like Engizek, like I thought that stuff was absolute bullshit. I talked a lot of shit about him. I got a lot of abuse from Turkish fans saying that they were going to rape my mother and all this kind of crap.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know, they're fucking crazy, some of those lads. And they're the same type of lad that if they met you on the street, they'd be asking you for a photo, like,
Yeah,
you know?
right, exactly.
yeah, but like, I mean, I got a lot of guys being like, oh, you're in Germany now, watch yourself. Like, even now, I'm in Hamburg, right? I'm here doing an interview tomorrow. And I put up a few stories from being around Hamburg. And I had like guys who obviously live over in like Dusseldorf or wherever Engizek is fucking living. And they're like, watch yourself, bro. And I'm like, if any of you cunts come near me, what the fuck do you think is going to happen? And like, look, I'm like, I'm not trying to fucking tempt fate here, but it is like, you're not going to approach me on the street, are you, man? Like, it's the reality of this. Like,
internet's not real life, man.
Yeah.
Well, Will, last question I have for you, sticking with this UFC theme a little bit. 2 weeks ago or a week ago, something like that, Ian Machado Garry, fellow Irishman, had a great title fight against Islam Makhachev. Didn't get the win, but earned a lot of respect, I think, out of the performance. So what are your thoughts on Ian and just that performance overall and where he's at?
I suppose Irish MMA is in a very strange place right now. Like we've had Ian challenge for a UFC title, and to be honest, he got a lot of hate at home, which is sad. But in some ways, like, I want to be a fan of his because he's a high-level fighter and he hasn't done anything terrible. Like, he hasn't really talked in a way that I'd be like, oh, fuck, mate. But a few times it's just been like, oh, you're making it as hard as, like, why are you making this so hard? I watch interviews with the guy and I'm like, please, just make it easier to be a fan of yours.
Yeah.
But he fought really well, and like, everyone like, I see Dana talking shit about him hugging in the 5th round. And it's like, that's just who he is. That's what he is. But if he can fight, he can fucking fight. So like, shut the fuck up, Dana. You're not in the cage, are you? So, like, I want to be a big fan of it. Like, I'm impressed by his performances. And look at his resume. It's fucking beautiful. Like, he's done really well. And it's great to have a guy from our country who's doing that. It's been tricky to be like, Irish culture is kind of a funny one where we're like an extremely supportive fan base, but Irish MMA in particular has been a really polarized environment for a long time because of Conor and because of the stuff that's happened around Conor. And I think Ian hasn't exactly made that an easier place. So like, our 2 biggest fighters have created a really polarized environment. And I feel like the sport at home is suffering because of that. And it feels a bit like it's going to be a while before we have domestic promotions or domestic fighters who are, who have an ability to connect with the fan base in Ireland. And because of it, I feel like the fan base has diminished massively. And that's sad. And I wouldn't blame Ian Garry for that necessarily. I think he's kind of being who he is. It's just who he is doesn't quite work for the Irish market, unfortunately. And like, I wish him, like, genuinely, I know it's easy to say shit like this, but it's like, I don't think he's done that bad. Like, he's got a lot of shit about being a cook and all this kind of crap, and it's like, it's all bollocks, really. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, any of the stuff that he said that I'm like, oh, mate, you look at it 6 months later and you're like, it's not that bad,
It's
like,
cringy. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's just like, like, I don't know if I agree with you fully here, and like, I'll be honest, I don't see why you're saying this from your own point of view. And even like, he did a podcast over in England where he was talking about like getting up early in the morning, going to work. And it was like, it was a couple of months during the summer, mate. You make it sound like it's the worst thing that ever happened. There's lads who work construction for 40 years. Like it just seemed a little bit out of touch. It was like a lack of perspective on like, how hard some people have life. And you're saying you have a hard life. It's like, you fucking don't, mate. We're all privileged. Every fighter, it's like, this is one of the, like, there are moments that are difficult. But overall, we live a fucking very privileged life as fighters. We're very lucky to be able to do this. And we're very lucky to be able to make money from our passion. I'm very grateful to be in this position, And I think like losing perspective on that kind of makes it hard for fans to really buy into what you are and who you are. Because like we're living this life that's very like, okay, there's difficult moments and like not everyone could do this shit. But ultimately we get such fucking, there's massive kudos given to you for every difficult thing that you do, and you get paid, and like you get paid better than the average industrial worker, and you don't have to get up at fucking 6 in the morning, and you don't have to do all this shit. I work for 3 or 4 hours a day, and look, I get periods like this where I just get to fucking travel, and all of my shit is paid for, and it's great. It's beautiful. Like it's a beautiful life, this thing, and I think like he's lost touch with that a little bit. And like, look, fuck it. It's not on me to tell him these things. Like, I'm just surprised he doesn't have a PR guy coming in and being like, here, mate, don't say this shit. Like,
The way you put it about making it hard to like him is good, because I am so impressed with Ian's skill. One of the best fighters there is right now. But like from the journalist side, when he comes in and says shit like, hey, nobody asked me about this, or he comes at a journalist for like pressing him hard at a press conference, it's like, dude, come on, man. Just play into it.
Even like kind of dictating the questions is it allowed to be asked. And it's like, no, your job is just to answer the fucking questions. And
or if you don't want to answer, just say, no thanks.
Yeah, or like, even like, let the questions come and be like, mate, that's a shitty perspective to have on that thing. Fuck you. I think you get more response, like you get a much more healthy response dealing with it like that than you would be being like, okay, guys, no questions about this, and let's keep it respectful. It just sounds like your dad talking down to you, and it's a bad fucking image to put. And look, it's not on me to tell him this shit. He should have a PR guy. Exactly. But like, yeah, like it seems like he needs somebody who's kind of a little bit more in touch with what the fan base is looking for. And you don't need to be what the fan base is looking for. You just need to be more self-aware and kind of understand that the audience isn't going to appreciate this tone and isn't going to appreciate. And like, look, ultimately, man, and this is actually by far the most important thing. He's fucking performing in the cage, and he's performing to a level that's like fucking genuinely impressive. Mm-hmm. And they're saying, oh, like I saw Dana saying like he might never fight for a title again. It's like, based off of that performance, it's very fucking critical, like harsh thing to say. He's beaten Carlos Paredes, who's like one of the other main contenders now. Like, I don't know. I'm excited to see where his career goes, and I hope he can get a decent PR guy in to like kind of help him to tone down some of the shit that he said recently. But like, fuck it, let's see where it goes.
Somewhere in Ireland, there's a 14-year-old boy plumbing or farming, drinking some Guinness, and he's gonna be your next guy. You watch.
Hopefully.
That's what Ireland needs, right? Ireland needs like that blue collar, homegrown boy.
I think we need someone who's gonna fucking properly represent our culture, because like, I'll be honest, Conor was like an aberration for Ireland, where it was like, this guy's really confident, he's really cocky. That is not what being Irish is. We're the underdogs. We have that kind of like, keep your head down, work your balls off, see what happens mentality. Like all of our athletes, even, they're quite like, anyone pre-Conor, it was all about like doing your best and like seeing yourself as the underdog. And it was refreshing when he came along at first, because it was like, yeah, fuck the underdog mentality. He's going out there and saying we're the best. And it was kind of like, this is a new Irishness. Yeah. And then you see some of the problems that's brought up, where we have a bunch of kids who are talking mad shit and not really performing at all. And it's all about image rather than like what you actually are as a human.
Sure.
Like, I think that whole thing has two sides to it. I'm not saying like being confident, being cocky, being confident is a bad thing. It's not. It's great. Like, have belief, but work for your belief. And like, understand that at the end of the day, mate, you're just a fucking human being. And like, part of your job is like, not part of your job, but like, if you want to have a decent, healthy life, you're going to have to understand that like, you're part of a much bigger thing as a person. And they like, being good at fucking beating the shit out of people doesn't make you a better human than anyone. And like,
Right.
I think there's a lot of young guys out there who've lost sight of that. Look, fuck it. It's a slightly different topic.
Well,
Anyway,
I appreciate our. I don't know. I didn't even mean to go this long. We went like a half hour. Great conversation. One of my favorite interviews. So before I get you out of here
just,
and let you enjoy your lovely day, anything for your fans?
just thanks a million. And like, even for all them lads being like, this guy would whoop ass in UFC. Yeah, I feel like I would too, mate. So hopefully someday we get to see something like that happen. But for now, it's going to be an octagon, and please God, the next fight's the title fight against Muradov again. Cheers.
Hopefully we get some light heavyweight news soon, but we'll take whatever we get. Will fucking Fleury,
Thanks.
thank you so much, my man. Have a great day.
Sound. Best luck. Take care of yourself.
All right, I'm
Cheers.
just ending it real quick.